Oh, how's it going, everybody? We're back for another All-In Quickie. And I know at the very end of the last video I said we were going to do the most grungiest band of the grunge, but we're going to hold that off until next week. So, last minute I decided to sort of do a segue, if you will. As you know, we did Rage Against the Machine last video, so we're going to segue into Audioslave this week. That's right. So, essentially, it's Rage Against the Machine with Chris Cornell as lead singer. That's really all it is. So, really, we have a combination of Soundgarden and Rage Against the Machine in this group. And then, of course, like, later on, we end up with Prophets of Rage, which the remaining three members of Rage Against the Machine was also in as well, which was, you know, like, mid to later 2010s. But we're mainly going to focus on Audioslave. So, the rules are like all in, except the one exception is we're talking about bands that have less than 5 studio albums. So yeah, like I said, total of 3 studio albums. We start off with a self-titled in 2002, ranging all the way to Revelations in 2006, and I did Out of Exile in 2005. So here we go. What was my first memories of hearing Audioslave? Definitely on the radio. They got played in heavy rotation right off the bat. Like, their song Like a Stone, I believe, was their breakout song, the first breakout song ever as Audioslave. So, no concert experiences with them, so never got to see them live or anything. But yeah, we start off with the 2002 release, Audioslave, and right out of the gate, they had like 5 singles on this album. Very successful, very popular. So, here we start off with Cochise. We also have Show Me How to Live, very popular. Gasoline, What You Are, Like a Stone, very popular. Set It Off, Shadow on the Sun, I Am the Highway, which you kind of get that ballad vibe with that one. Exploder, Hypnotize, Bring 'Em Back Alive, Light My Way, Getaway Car, and Remembering, and The Last Remaining Night. And all in all, definitely a memorable album for sure. Just a lot of good singles on this. Then it's also worth mentioning their one-off, We Got the Whip. And that is actually a B-side to Cochise. And then, of course, you know, they did some BBC sessions there right after that. And they did a cover of Super Stupid, which actually was, what's that band called? Funkadelic? I never heard of them. So then, moving on, we get 2005's Out of Exile. And here it produced 4 singles. You have Your Time Has Come, Out of Exile, title track, Be Yourself, very popular, Doesn't Remind Me, Drown Me Slowly, Heaven's Dead, The Worm, Man or Animal, Yesterday to Tomorrow, Dandelion, Number 10, and The Curse. And definitely a damn good follow-up to it. So then, we move on to their final album, Revelations. So, all in all, sort of a carryover from the last couple. We have the title track, Revelations, very good song. We got One and the Same, Sound of a Gun, Until We Fall, Original Fire, Broken City, Some Days. I like Some Days. It kind of gives you a little bit of a Soundgarden vibe. Shape of Things to Come, Jewel in the Summertime, another good one. Wide Awake, Nothing Left to Say But Goodbye, and we end it with Moth. So then, I guess it was right before this album, though we don't really talk about like EPs or anything like that, we got to talk about the AOL music sessions. So they did 5 tracks on that. So of course we have Be Yourself. They did the song Loud Love, which was a Soundgarden song. And of course they did Yeah, doesn't remind me Out of Exile. And then they end it with Sleep Now in the Fire, which was a Rage Against the Machine song. So, yeah, literally the guitars sound spot on with this one, obviously. But it's kind of cool how in that little EP they sort of like did a nod to both previous bands. And then, of course, you know, Audioslave stopped, and then it was by like the early 2010s, maybe around 2010, Soundgarden gets back together. You know, they released a couple of one-off singles, and then like a full-length album by 2012. And then, as I said earlier, the remaining members of Rage did the band Prophets of Rage. So, rating the albums. Don't know if there's any one that I like better than the other. But I don't know. I'm going to say the best one would be Audioslave. Probably my least favorite, Out of Exile, with Revelations coming in the middle. So they're all very close together. I didn't hate any of them. I didn't like love any of them, but yeah, I never had any of them physical, so I did this strictly on download. But yeah, so now next video we're going to move on to the grungiest band of all grunge bands. Find out who it is next.